Hi folks, Faven here. New day. So last we left off, the story was transition. Kaylee decided in 2016, she was just done living in the closet. She didn't want to live in the closet anymore. She wanted to live her authentic self. So this is a touchy subject for me going forward. At this point, I need to segue into I've never, ever, ever denied Kaylee doing Kaylee. Kaylee could have said, I wanted to be a farmer. I want to be a blonde-headed man with big jacked muscles. I would have supported her regardless. Farmers, big jacked muscly man, it doesn't matter. I laugh at the jacked muscly man persona idea because of the fact that was never Kaylee. Like that wasn't her. She was such a nerdy little girl and I was there for it. To the point to where I had an actual real life discussion with my children and said, "Hey, dad doesn't want to be dad anymore. But we can't call dad mom because then that would get me confused. If I'm in the same room and you walk in and you say, 'Hey, mom,' that would be so confusing. And that would probably irritate you as the kid trying to get our attention as parents." So I was like, what do we call mom? What do we call her? And they were like, well, we call her daddy. And we don't really want to call her mommy because we're too big for that. And I was like, okay, I'm following, I'm listening. And Daria was like, what about Maddie? And I was like, Maddie, okay, that sounds cool. And I had just the other day, previous to this discussion, read a transgender story of where the father had the same discussion with his kiddos and said to them, I'm really not feeling dad. I'm feeling more, I want to be your mom. And they were like, oh, yeah, let's call you Maddie. So that was kind of like, okay, did I say something to them to like plant the seed of Maddie or not? Anyhow, that's besides the point. That was part of like the whole, like, I would question every single thing I did because I couldn't remember what I did, who I talked to, what I've said to people. Not in the sense of was I telling the truth, but just when you're in a narcissistic relationship and they gaslight you so much, you don't realize what stories you've told to who and what discussions you've had with who. And it was really annoying to try and pinpoint stuff in my like memory bank when I could not for the life of me remember. So the kids decided Maddie was the name, the title. I presented it to Kaylee. She was thrilled with it. She was like, heck yeah, let's go. At least that's what she said. She was like, okay, let's go. I'm happy. That fits. And so time passed and we fast forward from that point to like her coming out at work. She had mixed situation with work because she worked in a hospital in Texas. A lot of the women were like, she can't change in the women's locker room. She's not a woman. A lot of the nurses were like, we feel uncomfortable with her in here. Kaylee kind of shot herself in the foot with that whole situation simply because she had decided to try and start a relationship with a nurse that she worked with. And she was like, I really like this nurse. I've had dreams about this nurse. I really want to start a relationship with this nurse. So Kaylee would have loopholes for how to get me to do stuff. She would know exactly how to word things, or she would know how to present things to me. And because I was still in people pleaser mode, and all I wanted to do was make her happy, because so long as she was happy, everybody else was cared for. Everybody else was considered, instead of just herself. And so I approached the nurse, and I was like, hey, so Kaylee finds you very attractive. And the nurse was like, yeah, I'm not interested in that. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, you do you. Some people would come at me with, well, if she's cheating and you're setting it up, then how is she cheating? You also have to go back and listen to the other videos where I'm saying quite clearly that she was not following the guidelines in any of the literature or the books that I was reading. None. Because the literature clearly states that everybody has to be in agreement, and everybody has to be on board, and everybody has to know the rules. And it really felt like I was consuming the knowledge that I didn't know. It was like teaching a first grader like advanced algebra, and then asking the first grader to teach a second grader that advanced algebra. I quite literally was trying to do this. I didn't understand a lot of the literature because it wasn't my personal mindset. Like, it wasn't who I was at my core. To understand that the people pleaser side of me was very, very strong. Does that mean that I am without, what's the word? Responsibility? No, I take full responsibility. I knew exactly. I was hurting myself. It's like shooting yourself in the leg and then blaming the gun. Dang you, gun, for doing this horrible thing to me. I knew I was doing the damage to myself. I knew. I was fully aware of it. But at least I was aware of it. That was my huge hang up with her cheating, was I was not in the know about who she was with, where she was at. It wasn't a matter of control. It was not control, okay? If Kaylee ever comes on here and finds this video, I need her to be completely aware of what I'm saying. I was never trying to control her. I just wanted to know. And that's the truth. That is the absolute truth. I hated being lied to. I hate when someone is deceiving me. Don't deceive me. There's no reason to deceive me. Because 9 times out of 10, if you come at me and you're like, hey, I really want to do this, I don't want to do it, but you want to do it, then there's leeway. There's that world of, okay, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go skydiving. You want to go skydiving? Cool. But you want me to go with you? I will go to the airport. I will go on the plane. I will watch you jump out the window, but I'm not following you. I will not follow you. You want me to participate in something that I don't find interesting, I will find a workaround so that I can. Come back for the next part and the closing of the transition, because I only get 10-minute videos at this point, and that's kind of strange, but it's better than 3 minutes.